Hey folks, my name is Travis2. Welcome back to what will be some more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And in today's episode, I'm actually going to just be breaking down my recent time trial personal bests. I've just recently posted 5 new time trials on the channel. They go from DS Wario Stadium to Tour Sydney Sprint on 200, Electrodrome, N64, Toad's Turnpike, and Super Bell Subway. This is actually pretty cool. So I've actually downloaded the YouTube app on my Switch and will be watching from there. It makes my life a lot easier. And yeah, we're just going to kind of break through them. I want to talk a little bit about them and so on and so forth. So we're going to start right away with DS Wario Stadium. Hey, here I got a 202.9. And yeah, there will be a lot of pauses and some other things as I talk about these tracks. I think this is not the first time I've mentioned this before, and it certainly will not be the last. But I very much dislike this track. Prior to this, I ended up with a 203.9, I think. So I didn't really improve a lot, and that kind of is going to go to show for a lot of reasons. I just don't understand this track. I don't understand the thrill of it, and it's incredibly frustrating. I spent like 3 hours and I only got a second better, and I am way off of world record. I'm not good at this track. It gets picked a lot in competitive. And versus a lot of the other tracks that I'm going to showcase, I've actually done some time and looked at some training videos and like how to get better at them, which is kind of what I am trying to do here, is kind of help people get better. Look at this angle right there, just absolute gorgeous, right off of that ramp. Oh man, this right here is just adequate. That line right into that, amazing. That couldn't have been any better, and you guys can never tell me otherwise. But no, that's kind of actually the reason why I dislike this track a lot. This track to me feels very inconsistent, and I just don't understand why. Like, there's a lot of weird tech with this. Like, you can't trick off of that ramp, or else you're really screwed. Because it doesn't set you up well for the shortcut. And each of these turns just feel like I'm either sticking to the wall, or like I just can't. I have a lot of trouble controlling this track. And it just doesn't feel good. Like, you're not supposed to trick off of there. You're actually like supposed to have a better alignment. That turn before this anti-gravity section, like I know my train of thought jumps around quite a bit, so I apologize to everybody listening, but that turn before the anti-gravity here, I can't like get a mini turbo on that consistently. And this is just rough. This is a tough track for me. It's very popular. A lot of people like it, and I think a lot of people have the right to be wrong. I don't like this track. I think that this is one of the worst tracks in the game, and I kind of just don't want to talk about it anymore. So there. Hey folks, my name is Travis2. Welcome. And you probably got to hear a little bit of my voice right there. Awesome. That's because some kind of autoplay feature is on, and we don't want that. So that's hilarious. Anyway, I'm just gonna try to chuck through this a bit. We're gonna move on to Tour Sydney Sprint. Now this is a 200cc time at 132.9. This is, as I'm recording, this is 8 seconds off the world record, I believe. And it doesn't even use the world record combo, which is really interesting. This is one of my favorite tracks on 200. I think it plays very well, and it deserves a lot of recognition for its build. It's perfect. I love this. This is the way that 200 should be built. I use Daisy here because Daisy, for me, I think just controls better on 200cc, and I don't have to go overboard. You're also going to learn really quickly that I don't use the same shroom strats as the world record, and that's fine right now. Like, I just started doing this the other day and literally got 8 seconds off the world record, so of course I'm going to be like, yo, yeah, I'm fine with whatever, right? Because this is a good starting time, especially as people are learning to optimize it. This section here is really hard. This is not an easy section at all, and I've actually lost a lot of runs to it. Because on 200, you're trying to take literally 3 corners really fast in a row. So you have this first corner. Let's back up a bit. Okay. So you come into this section, you're going to collect your first 4 coins. You probably should have 5 at this point. And then you get to this turn here, which you're going to take inside. You're going to get like this quick mini turbo. And then you got to get to inside of this next turn. Like, you're going to get a mini turbo, readjust and align for this next section, which happens really quick on 200. Like, this is much easier on 150. Much easier. Okay. Do that, and then you're going to align yourself after a mini turbo to get these 3 coins, and then come back as inside as you possibly can to complete this section. It's actually really hard. And what did I end up with? Like, just 0.043 faster. Like, and that's because I just don't, like, that's a tough section, like, back to back to back. And it's just rough. Like, it's very difficult to achieve what I quite literally just did there without, like, much more practice. This section kind of is straightforward. You just do a couple tricks. You take this turn inside. And then this is where I start using mushrooms. Okay, and world record does the same. The world record, though, with one difference, right? At this point in time, the world record has 2 mushrooms because they use one to start right away, which is common in 200. You use the mushroom just as a part of the startup boost. Okay, so you're going to use a mushroom to take this shortcut here, which, not too bad. This is the part where it's very tricky because your alignment, it's not really, this section I don't think is built well for 200 because you come out of this drift and you have to essentially brake into this next section. So the only way to, like, do this without slowing down is to take the next mushroom and use it to cross this grass, because, like, there is just not a better way to do that. It's just, the alignment is much better for that. You don't lose any speed, and you don't have to worry about braking. And that section is just really bad with it. That is better to have a mushroom on, and that's all. Grab a couple coins, do some tricks here. Now, I know that there's some of these that you're not supposed to trick on, but I can be me. I can make my own decisions. Now, versus 150, in 150cc, you normally cut this grass portion coming into this gliding ramp. 200, it's actually slower to do that. Or it doesn't save as much time. So there's no reason to cut this grass off. There's there will probably be a optimization in the future, I would guess, of people like being able to jump over this grass section, but maybe I'm thinking too optimistically. And then the last place that I use my shroom is actually over this railing cut. Now, you could do that shroomless on 200, I just haven't been good enough to do it yet. So once I learn how to do that, that shouldn't be a problem. That's probably an easy learn. I just haven't learned it yet, right? So that's a time save or a mushroom save that can be used elsewhere. That can cut some more time off. And you can see I actually had a better lap too with my ghost here than I did with my actual time trial. Not an issue. No worries about that. That happens. Really where I beat my old time trial is right here. So that turn, I know it's not very visible, so we can go back here for a minute. But this turn coming into section 3, so we get a mini turbo here, and then this mini turbo is what I didn't get. And that actually changed the outcome of this run quite significantly. Hey, and as we start discussing here, with some of the other tracks coming up, mini turbos are kind of not my strong suit, and I don't know why. I can't get them consistently, and it sucks. I really want to be able to get them consistently. So I want to be able to take these turns without having the problem of kind of just sucking at it, but it's just the way it is right now. I'm just not relatively consistent. But other than that, the track is actually really easy on 200. You take this last corner, like preferably a little bit more inside, gliding ramp, get the trick boost, come across, like cut this corner off. And I had a really good section 3 here, and saved quite a bit of time. 26.6 versus 26.9, right? Like that's really that's the big difference between the two runs, right? I have a rule of thumb where I don't like anything to end in, like, my new rule is that I don't want anything to end with 0.1. If I can, I want to get the sub, right? So 133.1, I would prefer sub 133 versus having 133.1. So I won't post like a new time trial unless if I get the sub or something of that nature. If it's a 0.2 as in Electrodrome here, which we're about to get to, that's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind that at all, actually. So, and Electrodrome is a very unique situation. But yeah, Sydney Sprint is a very good track on 200. Super fun. Probably the best track on 200 to play. And I'm really interested in actually lowering that and maybe learning the best strat. It's really good. Yeah, I had a blast playing it and time trialing it. So you guys might see some more Sydney Sprint on the channel. It is definitely one of my favorite tracks. It might be my favorite track of all the new DLC so far. And at the time of this, there's obviously only been 2 waves, right? But yeah, Sydney Sprint is good. That's one of my favorites. Moving on to Electrodrome. This is actually one of my favorite main track games. I say that a lot. Like, I actually think the 32 tracks had some really good ones. And they kind of feel like classics now. But let's go back. Because I'm still rambling. But yeah, Electrodrome, I had a 204.203, and this is probably not going anywhere for a while. that is one of my best times. I think I will post on this track for maybe a year or so. I originally had a 207. I really should pull this up. I had like a 207.9 or something silly like that. I might actually take a quick peek here. Yeah, originally I had a 207.912. And my first thought coming into this track was, oh, this is going to be a difficult one to improve on, because my lines on this already felt really good. And I was wrong. I think in the description of this video, I said something like, this is gaining me 50 spots worldwide, or pretty close to it, because like this just ended up being a very good time trial. It's not close to world record. I think world record's like 156 maybe. World record's been around on this track for a while too. It hasn't been contested for a bit. But this was really incredible. Like this kind of shows how much my skill has improved in this game over the last few years, especially the last year, because like I've been learning a lot more technical stuff. The DLC coming out, I've been learning some new tips and tricks, and it really showed off in this track. Bitty Buggy, Roller Wheels, Paper Glider. And yeah, this track is very technical. There's a lot going on. I can improve this. I know I can, but I don't think I'll be touching it for a bit. Hey, now, right, like, this is going to give you a really good idea of how tough this track is, because I'm going to pause a lot on the first lap and maybe constantly some more. Because technically you're supposed to drift into that glider ramp. I can't get that drift out the gate. I have a lot of trouble with that, so I kind of just ignore it for now. I know that is a pretty quick time save, though. But the coordination of this track is really tough. Hey, so you come off the glider ramp, you're going to collect these 2 coins here, and then you're going to go inside, and what I do is I collect the 3rd coin there rather than like hugging it all the way from the beginning. So we'll do just that. We'll come outside, we'll collect this 3rd coin. Come here, collect 4 or 5. Hit this boost. Collect 6, 7. So it doesn't seem very technical. This is really where it gets tough. And this is where I had a lot of trouble, is coming into this next section, because it's just a lot harder than it looks. This track, there's just a lot on my mind at every given point, because here you're going to take these inside, and anti-gravity is not always the easiest to work with, because I believe it like it might slow your speed down, slows your drift down a bit. I don't recall which one it is. I believe speed is one, though. But you come across these corners kind of tight. Hey. And then you're going to shift right away and get yourself set up for these next 2 coins. Down around the corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're drifting into this glider. Hey. So you get the drift boost off the ramp, and you're going to hold strong to the right, because if you do that, you're going to get this angle that saves a lot of time. You hit the ground, you collect a couple more coins, and then you got to do the shortcut at the end. Hey, like starting in that like mix, that multi-pass section is just where it gets really hard, because there's just so much going on, and it was very complicated. And if you don't get 10 coins, like 9 or 10 coins, this shortcut at the end of the stage is just like impossible. Like this thing here ended my run several times. Like I had a lot of I just had so much trouble with it. And sometimes it was the alignment, sometimes it was not having enough coins, because if you don't have enough coins you can't make it all the way to the end. You slow down and you end up stuck in the water there, which it's a mess. It's actually really tough. And coming back here, right, like this whole sequence of events, just starting here, it was a pain. But it shows what I was able to do. And I tried to get the drift here. You'll notice I missed it. Hey, happens, right? Like, the best runs aren't perfect. There's mistakes in the world records, and we all know it. Like, there's ways to make them better. There's just a lot more, right? By the way, the other comment, the other comment I've got here is I don't like motion gliding. I think motion gliding in some ways is cheating. I'll put that to the side. I prefer just doing the drift off of the glider and then using that appropriately. I couldn't do that here because my alignment would actually get me into the Mario Kart disco ball. I've had that several times. That was really frustrating too, because you do all that technical stuff and then you hit the disco ball and fall into the water, and like your race is over. Like you can't do anything about that. But you gotta keep that sequence of events over and over, and that actually right there is a really good showcase of how much time it loses not drifting into the ramp, because I got the drifting the ramp on my other record, and you can see it loses you like about 0.2 seconds, because I was originally about 0.1 ahead. Yeah, I officially learned how to take like the anti-gravity turn a little bit more inside, and then here, hitting that boost on the side is ridiculously hard for some reason. Because I had on so many occasions hitting that boost and it flung me right into the fence. Like on the right. Like I got just like weird momentum that screwed me over. It was brutal. So the boost started like becoming a factor later in these runs, and this was tough. A lot of tech. With every turn, trying to get these right. My run that I'm going against here, I believe it's a 205 run. Okay, and yeah, coming off of here, getting the corner, and getting the mushroom. And yeah, this is, you'll see here, 804, I got the drift here coming in. So what happened with the previous run was I got a bad drift. I got my drift locked a little bit. So I came off of the ramp and I was actually turning to the right rather than to the left. So I had to take the shortcut a little bit more narrow, and that to show you when you go more inside, you save a lot of time on this track, and one of the biggest differences here. Yeah, this tech just continued. Like, this is a similar thing across the board. The lines are like really important. It's imperative that you get 10 coins in that first lap, or else it's just not easy to beat this thing. I remember being really nervous at the end of this too, and like it doesn't show very well, but I was going for like my best time, and here I get this 204. And yeah, we were just talking a moment ago about I don't like to have things with 0.1 at the end. Here I have, I'm going against a 205.1. So I was actually shooting for 204.9. That's all I wanted was to get that. And then I just absolutely crushed it. Like, I beat it by a full second. And I went, best run that I'm going to get on this in a while. Like, if this was 204.1, I may have broken that rule. Because this was insane. I feel really accomplished with this track. Like, I was very impressed with how well I did. This jumped me quite a bit. Coming just back to the Mario Kart leaderboards website, which they haven't verified my time yet, which sucks. But I mean, they're pretty slow. I would also like them to have the DLC on the website. That would be freaking great. Thank you. So my 207.912 was originally 95th in the US. The 204.203 actually puts me at 80th. So I increased 15 places in the United States with this. Actually puts it as one of my best tracks in the main 32 and one of my best tracks in the game. So, I mean, Mario Kart leaderboards is the way that I view how good I am on certain tracks, because it gives me an idea of my skill level, etc. So this became quickly one of my best tracks without too much hesitation, and I'm pretty proud of that. But yeah, moving on, we go on to Toad's Turnpike, N64 Toad's Turnpike. And let's just start right away with saying this track, I just play, I think this track is underrated, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for that statement, but I like time trialing this track because it's calm. It's not too much, right? It's just easy to play it. And yeah, that's really not much to say about it, right? So here I've got the build of Wario Sport Bike Slim and Super Glider. The Sport Bike is an inside drifting bike, and that's what the world record uses. This is the only track in the game in which inside drift is better. Everything else is outside drift, so it's not Mario Kart Wii, it's definitely Mario Kart 8. And yeah, I'm actually pretty good with inside drift. I just need to get a lot better at the game. Because this combination is really broken for this track. It's very fast, and yeah, there's really not a lot to say about this track, so I'm probably we're just gonna watch it through, and yeah, you'll see here, instead of going for the coins at the beginning, which is typically the recommended strat, I actually use a mushroom because I think that's a better use. I think you'll get the same amount of speed. Getting into these 4 coins is actually really hard because you can't see that turn very well. And if you were doing world record strats, you have the camera on the inside of this railing and you can't see your vehicle. So I'm very impressed by a lot of that. By those people that do those strats. I'm not going really close to that. I'm actually pretty far away, so I wasn't particularly concerned. All I wanted was a clean run of not hitting the railing, and that's exactly what this run is. It's not over the top, it's really easy. For people who don't use inside drift vehicles and you're really not sure how to do it, this is a good track to learn it on. Basically what you do is, and this is a great time trial to show it, what you do is you just try to stay with the white line. And actually I use my mushroom to cross on both of those laps, if you haven't noticed. I do that because I feel like it just saves more time to get to the other side. But staying in line with the lines actually really helps you with inside drift, and this is a good track to learn it on. It's really easy. I'll improve this time trial every once in a while just because I like this track. It's just calm. It's not too difficult. Yeah. That's a 151. 151.4, everybody. Easiest track to commentate because, I mean, I don't really have much to say because the track is straightforward. Just stay on the inside, don't go on the outside, right? But if you want to learn how to be better with inside drift, this is the track to do it on. Just stay like literally right on the white line, okay, and you'll learn how simple it is. Like, it's really not that bad. Trust me. I know a lot of people would be like, "Are you crazy?" And I'm like, "No." I actually started playing this game on inside drift. I played this game. The first vehicle I used was the Yoshi bike. Oh, that's somewhere on. That's got to be on Travis S1. It's got to be on my other YouTube channel. And yeah, it's really not that bad. Yeah. And then I had my new online Mario Kart 8 Deluxe video. If you haven't watched that, please. It would be great. That's actually a pretty funny one to start because like there were no players in their room. It's great. I won't spoil it though for you too much. All right. And now we have Super Bell Subway on 150. This is one of my best tracks in the game. Period. Like, I've said that a couple times in videos. The cake really goes to Super Bell Subway. Why? So prior to this, I was 77th in the US with a 150. Is that right? Let's take a look. Coming back to the leaderboards website. I know that's not very helpful that I'm not showing anybody, but I'll leave the link to this in the description. Hopefully one of these days I'll update this. I am 76th. I started with a 150.542. And so I shaved 2 seconds off. And be like, wow, big deal, 148.7. Neat, right? Because that puts me at 72nd. So I gained 4 spots. The thing that's important about this is actually how I did this. And that's what makes this generally a really impressive time trial. So I'm going to let the first lap play out, and I'll explain why this time trial is so impressive. Because, quite frankly, not a lot of people do what I just did. Okay, so you might be going, wow, what's so impressive about that? Let's kind of just take this from the beginning, okay? Because what I did here, a lot of people actually use more optimizations and get a worse time than I did. So I was actually able to get a really good time without all the heavy optimizations, which is really cool. So, kind of just to start back here from the beginning. I mean, this is a pretty easy part. You collect the 3 coins, you get inside, you try to get the Ultra, get the 4th coin here, trick, and grab those 3 coins. I actually don't think the world record goes for those coins, or they might get the coins in a different pattern. But nonetheless, you get 3 coins there. You're at 7 immediately, and you get this trick here. Okay, so easy. Okay, like this is straightforward. Taking really good lines here is actually very brutal. I had some issue. I actually didn't have many issues with that. I'd be lying if I told you I did. Because each of these turns, I can anticipate some people having some trouble on them. This is rated as one of the toughest tracks in the game, which is why I'm like, it's impressive for me to even have it as one of my best. 72nd in the US is like high for me. Like that's easily one of my best. And part of the reason is because getting these super mini turbos, these orange boosts, on these next 2 turns are very critical. Okay, it's not that turn specifically. Oh, and we'll talk about this here in a second. But on laps 2 and 3, that is a really important turn to get something on. This here, the turn that I'm making, you're actually supposed... This is where I'm saying like the optimizations come in. You're supposed to actually shroom in this off-road and cut the entire thing off. It saves about a second. Okay, I can do that right now. Okay, I know how to do that. Okay, so that saves about a second each lap. I don't use that in this time trial, which is why I'm saying it's very impressive. A lot of people who have a time that is around 148 cut this whole corner off, and they do something a little different at the end of the lap. So this turn here is, I mean, that just shows how optimized this is. Now, I missed the 10th coin, as you can see. It would have been nice to have 10 coins at the end of this, but world record also has 9 coins, so it's not really the world's worst thing. And also getting the trick off of that and making that turn afterwards is brutal. It is hard. Getting that to align with this boost panel, the stairs are slower. Not easy. This was not an easy job. And then tricking off of both of these and getting ready to align into this shortcut is that's the other part that's tough, right? But here's the thing that's interesting about that. Hey, that's where I use my shroom, right? So if you're like, well, I mean, that's a big corner that gets cut off, right? It's another spot where another second is lost, right? If you use the shroom there. So what do they do with optimizing? So if we go back, and I know we're going back quite a bit on this one. Hey, so what they'll do is like world record strats, and what people who are optimizing will do. They'll take this corner inside. Hey, they'll take the second off there, and then when they come to this shortcut here, they actually they build up an orange mini turbo, get into the grass a little bit, and then hop across it. Hey, that is slower than taking a mushroom. I think it's slower by like maybe 0.3 or 0.4. I don't know. I had a very difficult time learning that. I don't know how to do this shortcut shroomless. That's the only reason why my time is not better. I know how to do the shroom spot that the world record uses and everybody else uses, right? I don't know how to do this shroomless. And there's actually not a tutorial on YouTube on how to do this, at least that I have found yet. So if anybody has any comments about how to do this, that would be great, because that will shave, like, taking everything into consideration. I'm at 148.7 right now. I can probably get a 145 if I learn how to do this shortcut shroomless at the end, like how they're doing it now. That will be a game changer. And this track becomes quite literally my first ever US top 50. And that's what I mean by, like, this time trial is impressive. It is very, very good. I have optimized this very well. Like, I could take that a bit more inside there, actually. But yeah, you get that super mini turbo there. You build it here. The subway seems deceiving. And I should make that a note, right? It's gonna feel, if you time trial this track, it's gonna feel like that's very close. And that's kind of the way I felt quite a bit. But it's not. It's nothing to worry about. And then getting this inside turn here actually screwed me a couple times. This is close, right? And with an outside drifting cart like the Biddy Buggy, right? You sometimes, if you sway too much, you end up hitting the subway. So it's really important to get a good alignment into that section there. And then you get into another mini turbo final lap here. And this is really where my biggest time save was right here. I actually, now this is because of my line, like my time not being good. Okay, coming into this, I take this wide, and I actually take this closer to the train. I just don't have a good train cycle because of, like, I don't know how to do the other shortcut shrimless. If I know how to do that shrimless, this becomes really broken for me. Like, I know this cycle very well. But for now, I have to come on this side so I can actually align myself for this turn inside, which saves a lot more time. Get the boost and come over here. Okay, ideally, I wouldn't want to do that. But that's really where I'm at right now. I'm just not good with the train cycles yet. And that's Super Bell Subway. Just to take a look, 148.7. My previous, and what I was just going against, was a 149.1. Once again, my philosophy, 0.1, right? Don't leave yourself on 0.1. Always try to get the 0.9 if you can. And you can see that lap 3 really was a big time saver because I was getting the mini turbos that I wanted there. Saved me 0.3 on it. So, and actually this is to go to show the comparison, right? I took that wide and I saved more time than I did with the other one, because the other one I took it inside the first subway, and then I took the other turn wide and it lost me a lot of time. So if I get a better subway cycle, quite literally, that time will be a lot better. But this is a long video. I've posted a lot of really big time trials recently, so maybe if you guys like this, I'll do more in the future. I don't know how often I'm going to showcase time trials. I just ended up with a really good bunch of time trial streaks recently, and I like ending on Super Bell Subway because Super Bell Subway is one of my favorite tracks. It's really good. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you guys for watching this long video. And if you enjoy this content, please make sure to like and subscribe. It helps me out. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. Do it. It's awesome. If it's red, that means you're not subscribed. Please subscribe. Thanks. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I will see you all later.